Hey, Mudassar, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm good. So everyone, as we talked about, that we will be having some keynote speakers over the week. The
Okay.
first keynote speakers that we have today is Mr. Mudassar Nazar. He's a former cricket player from Pakistan, and he also coached Pakistan as well. He has have tons of experience over the years playing cricket, coaching cricket in different countries. He was also the coach of the Kenyan cricket team. And as you guys know, that we also serve the communities for and promote the cricket in Canada and in Toronto as well. We were the first illuminated cricket field in Canada, and that was actually inaugurated by Mr. Shahid Afridi as well back in 2017. So we tried to give as much exposure to the kids in cricket and promote the world of cricket here in Canada. So I would like to maybe Melvin to introduce Mudassar again, and we can go on from there. Um, okay, you can unmute yourself, Melvin.
Mudassar and myself go back many years. Times I remember he's one of the world's greatest opening batsmen. And also, a big thing to his credit was that many partnerships in the world, when they could not be broken, they brought in Mudassar to ball, and they called him the man with the golden arm.
Yeah.
And he's always been not only the man with the golden arm, but a man with a golden heart to give us his time today and to come to talk to all these young people. And Mudassar, the floor is yours, and thank you and much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Melvin, for such kind words. Of course, we go back a long way. In fact, the last time I was in Toronto, but one of the last time I was in Toronto was when you organized a Pakistan versus India Veterans Tournament, and it went really, really well. We had almost 15,000 people who turned up, mainly to watch Wasim Akram, but there were a lot of hosts of other stars. And I really enjoyed my visit. And then I came to Toronto again with the ICC Cricket Global Cricket Academy with Rod Marsh, and we trained some of the budding Canadian cricketers. And I was really, really happy that about 7, 8 of them went on to play for Canada for a number of years.
Okay, so because we have a not that much long of a time, we can open the floor up to the participants that have many questions. We got a lot of questions for you, so
Yeah.
we can maybe ask us. So the first question is from Serena. So Serena, I will ask you to unmute. Serena, can you speak right now?
So my question is, how did you get interested into playing cricket?
That's a very good question, and it takes me back such a long time ago. I belong to a cricketing family. My father, Nazar Muhammad, he played for Pakistan too. In fact, when the first Pakistan team was selected, he was part of it. And my father was also the first man to score a test century for Pakistan. One of my uncles, he played cricket as well, and he died 10 years before I was born. So I used to play for his team. We had named the team after him, and all my cousins and my uncles played for that team. So we had a family team. And my father became national cricket coach of Pakistan. So he used to go around coaching club cricketers all over Lahore and rest of Pakistan. And I used to tag along. My passion was that I wanted to emulate my father. I wanted to become like him. He was a revered figure. A lot of people, they liked him. When he turned out in Lahore, people used to run after him. And I just wanted to be like him. I just wanted to be a cricketer. All I could think of was playing for Pakistan.
All right, thank you, Mudassar. Next question is from Subodh. Subodh, I will ask you to unmute yourself, and you can go ahead.
So what was your hardest cricket game you ever played?
Oh, there were a lot of hard games. We won a lot, we lost a lot, and some of the games with the India were very, very tight games, especially when we played them at a neutral ground. When we played at home in Pakistan, Pakistani supporters obviously were backing Pakistan team. When we went to India, Indian fans, obviously looked after their own team. But when we played at Sharjah, where Indians and Pakistani lived together, and there was no way they wanted to lose a game against India or Pakistan. So those games were very hard fought. One game we won on the last ball when we needed 4 runs to win, and Javed Mirza hit a 6 to win that game. And then in another hard game, which I can never even today watch the highlights of that game, because we bowled India out for 123, such a meager total. And after being 30 for 1 and relatively cruising, we lost that game. And that probably was the hardest game. And I'm nearly 65 years of age, and I still haven't come to terms with that game.
Oh, okay. The next one is Art. Art has a question. Art, go ahead.
My question is, how has cricket changed from the 1980s to today? And what role has T20 cricket had?
Cricket has moved on. And look, 200 years ago, they used to bowl underarm. And when they started to bowl overarm, there was a lot of hue and cry, and people didn't like it. But all the innovation started coming in, and it's ever changing. And I believe that when I played in the 80s, in the 70s, and the 90s, it was a damn good game, and we enjoyed it as much as we could. One day cricket had come in, and it had changed the scene, and we enjoyed that too. But with 2020, the whole thing has changed once again. And there's room for all 3 formats, even T10. When people talk about cricket changing and it'll be the same again, and I say, no, it's a beautiful game. I tend to watch all formats and enjoy all formats. It's a much better game now. People are much fitter, and it is watched globally now. Everybody can watch the game from their house on the TV screens, and I think it's a lot more catchy. And it's also a lot easier to introduce now this game to worldwide fans, because the game can be over in 3 days and not in 5 days. And there's always a winner at the end of the day. And I think the game is a lot better than when I played.
Okay, thank you, Art, for that question. We'll be going to Talha Khan, one of our staff members. He had a question for you as well. Wait, Talha Khan is not here. Okay. Okay, so the next one is Ayan Shivji. You can ask a question, Ayan.
What is the best thing you like about cricket?
Oh, there are so many things I like about cricket. I'll tell you something, in life, it teaches you a lot of discipline. And in every walk of life, it has helped me, because being a cricketer, I had to be very, very disciplined. Going to practice, training, and then playing matches, and then working in a group, going to different countries, watching different cultures, and it makes you a much better person. And I've thoroughly enjoyed my stint with cricket, and I hope it may continue.
All right, thank you. So the next one is Taha Shabir. You can go ahead. Taha?
I have two. So how does it feel when you're teaching kids?
Oh, I tell you, that's a very, very pertinent question. Because when I finished playing for Pakistan, within a year, I had become the national coach of Pakistan team. So the likes of Wasim Akram, who came in as kids, and we brought them up, and all of a sudden they were stars, and I had moved on. But within a year, I was back, and I was coach of the Pakistan team. and as I enjoyed it, and I had 2 stints as the national coach of Pakistan. But when I went into coaching and I started teaching the kids, sometimes my hair would stand up when I was coaching because those kids, because I was seeing that I was making a difference and I was actually shaping up their life. And that meant an awful lot to me. And also realized, it dawned on me that my role as a coach is actually within the development of the game rather than being with the national team. And I absolutely loved it. Every minute of coaching the kids. Today, still, I can't play cricket but I still love watching cricket. And if there's a under 13, under 11, under 9 match going on, I happen to be driving past or walking past, I just cannot move. I have to stop and watch the game, whole game, and watch little kids play. I marvel at their skill, and I like to get involved so that I can shape up, maybe help them achieve their results, achieve their goals.
Okay. Well, maybe I can ask one of the questions as well. I want to ask if, like, I get this a lot from kids that play in our competitive teams as well, and under 14 and under 16 especially, that they don't perform for some games, or maybe the lower age group as well. So they don't perform well one day, and then they just give up. They don't have the motivation to continue and work hard. How do you come back from those things?
Well, it stays with you all your life. It's a pressure game.
Yeah.
And you could be on top of the world, having done well in the last 5, 6, 10 games, and all of a sudden you fail in one game.
Yep.
And you say, all right, I failed. You're down, but next game comes, and that's when, if you don't perform in that game, that's when all the doubt starts to resurface again. And you feel nervous, you start to doubt your own ability, and it stays with you. It doesn't matter whether you're a club cricketer or a school cricketer or a top international cricketer. It stays with you. And what do you do in that period? We always look at the positive side of your game. Always remember when you perform well in the previous game. Those games where you perform well, you stood up and perform in difficult conditions. That gives you the confidence. But if you start thinking, oh, I've failed again, and what is going to happen in the next game? And am I going to perform? It's difficult. It is very difficult, but it happens to all of us. So these are the times when you always look at the positive side of your game, when you have done well in the past.
Indeed.
And sometimes when I was bowling, and you would get hit for a 4, or maybe a couple of 4s. That's when you need your mates. You're down a little bit. You need reassurance from your mates. And I'm talking about international cricket. I always wanted Sarfraz was one of my former teammates, because I've always wanted him fielding and mid-on, because he would stand there. And even if I got hit for a couple of 4s, he would be saying, "What are you going to get this guy? Well bowled. Doesn't matter if you come for 2 4s. I needed that. I needed somebody to say to me, you're going to get him out. When you're doing well, you check him because getting runs, you don't need anybody. Your confidence is flowing. You're on top of the world. It's when the chips are down, that's when you need your mates. Yeah. Somebody to whisper in your ear, you're good enough, you've done it in the past. You are a world beater. That's how you come out of these bad patches.
Oh, that was a good, really good advice. So next one is Jana. Ask you to unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Okay. How did it feel going out to the field in your first international game? How did it feel winning on your first international game? And how did you become so good at cricket?
Well, first of all, like everybody else, you're back on nerves. But I was absolutely elated. It happened in Australia. My first international game was in Australia, against Australia at Adelaide Oval in 1976. And they had such world-class bowlers, probably one of the best bowlers ever to play cricket, and Lily was playing, opening the bowling for them. He was very, very fast. And but I was elated because this is what I had worked for years. I wanted to become a test player, and it was happening. I was going to become a test player, and it didn't matter. Australia was such a top side. I had achieved my goal. The next thing was to do well. And of course, there were nerves. And sometimes nerves are good for you. They keep you on your toes. So, you're aware there's certain things you're supposed to do, certain things you're not supposed to do. So stick to the basics. And I did that, and I did reasonably well, and not as well as I did later on in my career. But it was a reasonable start. But like all newcomers, I was nervous.
All right. So the next question is from one of our staff members. It's Talha. We'll be asking a question. Talha, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi Mudassar, it's Talha here. I often get a question about people, how they play baseball and stuff, and then they say how cricket is similar to baseball. So in terms of that, how would you explain cricket to those youngsters in 2 sentences about cricket and how baseball is different?
Well, I haven't watched baseball an awful lot because in Pakistan, they hardly ever showed baseball. But one thing what we tend to do as coaches, especially when it comes to throwing, we like to consult the baseball coaches because throwing is such an important part of cricket, and these baseball players are very, 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 very good when they're throwing. But at the end of the cricket and baseball, it's all hand and coordination, and eye coordination. So hand-eye coordination, you see a lot of cricketers, some of the Australian cricketers, they play baseball as well, which is very good. I wish we did that in Pakistan. I tried to do that in Pakistan, tried to get some baseball coaches in Pakistan, but due to financial resources, we couldn't employ them. But there is a similarity. There's certainly no similarity when it comes to finance, because baseball players are paid huge money and cricketers aren't. But at the end of the day, it's all hand-eye coordination. And that's all I can think of.
Yep. Of course, like even today, like in T20 cricket, I think it's all about seeing the ball and hitting the ball as well. So I think baseball techniques is really used in that as well. The next question is from Haseen Shahzad.
My question was, how did you become a cricket player?
Well, you start very, very young. And in my case, I started probably when I was 4 years of age. Started to tag along and go to the nets with my father, who was coaching. I was like a net boy, would stand there to collect the cricket balls and give it back to the bowlers. Never used to get a bat, but it didn't bother me. I just wanted to be involved. And then there were matches. Always used to be this scorer, used to score for my team. And like most cricketers, one day one of the guys didn't turn up who was supposed to be playing. And I happened to put my hand up, and the captain said, yes, you can play. And I went in at number 11 and didn't get out. So that was my start. Took a catch as well. So from then onward, they made me a 12th man in every game. And like every night when there was a game, the day after, I used to just pray and pray that somebody doesn't turn up, and I would get a game. And I would get 4 or 5 games a year. And then I started to play for my school. In those, school cricket was very, very popular in Pakistan, and we played over 3 days. So I started to come through, started to perform well. And then from then onward, I went to college and Pakistan universities. Pakistan universities and government college where I came from, they all had a cricket team. Cricket was very, very popular. And that's how people started to notice me. And then I played for Pakistan under 19. My first tour was to England in 1974 with Pakistan under 19. Did really, really well on that tour. And from then on, I was picked for Pakistan.
Okay, we have last couple of questions. One from Jarar. Jarar, you can go ahead now.
Okay, perfect. Hi. Is it working?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So Hi, Mudassar. So I was gonna ask you, if not cricket, like what else would you have done if you didn't go professional?
Look, this is something I took a chance in life. I went to school, studied hard, and I was a decent student. But deep down, I just wanted to play cricket. I never thought about becoming something else. I had such conviction I was going to be a test cricket. And I wouldn't recommend that to anybody else because he could have gone the other way. But through conviction and hard work, I achieved what I wanted to do. But it could have easily gone the other way, and I could have been on the street. And this is something, you decide, and there's no going back. People, sometimes when it doesn't work, and it has happened to a lot of Pakistani cricketers. As you know, Pakistan is a poor country. There are no jobs forthcoming. So maybe that's what, because I had taken that path, I've worked so hard that I had to achieve what I wanted to do. Otherwise, I could have been a failure. So as I said earlier, I started playing at 4 years of age. By the time I was a teenager, I had this conviction that I was always going to be a Pakistan player.
Okay, I think we have taken a lot of your time. Just one last question. What do you think about Pakistan's chances against England?
I think the even chances, in many ways, it's very similar to West Indies. They have a strong bowling attack. West Indies bowling attack was strong, but I think Pakistani bowling attack is more varied and stronger. Batting-wise, Pakistan, again, very much alike West Indies, but there are 2 or 3 top Pakistani batsmen who have experience of playing in England before, played county cricket. If Pakistan can put up a reasonable total in the first innings, I think they stand a very good chance of beating in England. But it will be a tough tour for Pakistan because they are starting from cold. England have already played 3 test matches. They experimented in the first test match and they went awry for them, but then they patched things up and they're looking a very strong team now. So Pakistan will have their work cut out, but they have the means to do well in England.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Mudassar, for giving us your time. I know you're a really busy man, and we really do appreciate you coming over here and talking to the youngsters here. And hopefully, when you come into Canada next time, you guys can visit us at our facility.
Thank
Melvin?
you.
Yes, Mudassar, before we go offline, times are very difficult. A lot of these young people are stuck at home. They can't get out and do things. Most of the playing fields are closed, but we're hoping to get back Friday into some practice. And of course, next year, they have a beautiful facility. It's the only facility that has lights as well. It's a beautiful ground, and hopefully next year we're going to invite you to come down to Canada. But before you go online, could you tell them how to stay safe and, these are difficult times and what they should be doing to keep themselves occupied till we get back to normal?
Well, just follow the guidelines. This is what we have been doing. And cricket has started in England, and Amsterdam have started coaching. They have to follow the government guidelines, health guidelines, and stick to them. So only time you get into trouble is when you're not following these guidelines. And with cricket, and also keep you off the streets. Cricket is a pretty safe environment as long as you're following the guidelines. Obviously, the cricket, we're so used to putting saliva on the cricket ball, not to do that, and just use your sweat. That is a dangerous thing, shining the ball now. So, but you have seen that in test matches already on TV, people are just using their sweat, and obviously no handshakes, nothing. You've seen that with footballers as well, and just be careful and sanitize yourself, sanitize your hands all the time, and be safe.
Okay, that's great, Mudassar. We really appreciate you taking the time. And on behalf of Go Green and myself and all the young people and Tala and Ahmed and everybody else, we're looking forward that when COVID is done,
Yeah.
that we will see you on this facility with all these young people and they get to meet you in person. And thanks
Look forward
very
to
much.
it. Look forward to it. Really enjoyed this chat. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you
kids
so much.
as well as-
Thank you so much, Mudassar.
Okay, everybody, all the best. Stay safe.
Thank you. Stay
all the
safe,
best.
everyone.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.